How's it going, ladies and gents? I am your host, Isaac Espinosa, and welcome back to another episode of Recap Relay! How's everyone been doing as they get back into the feel of school? Hopefully everyone's been having a nice workflow and making sure they get their assignments done, but that's neither here nor there, as we get ourselves situated with the news we may have missed in September. As always, Recap Relay is here to bring you any gaming news you may have missed out on. So grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's start with our first headline. So, while it's a part of the gaming sphere that we don't like looking at, bad news is equally as important to talk about. So, let's break down some of the insane things that happened this month. Let's start with Nintendo, who have decided to pull out their legality books again and put Palworld into the lawsuit blender. We've talked about Palworld before, and its record-breaking increase in players, but people have always wondered when Nintendo would bring down the hammer on them. Unfortunately, the fact that the lawsuit is for patents within the game's code and structure paints a very grim picture on how Pokemon wants to control the Pocket Monster monopoly. It's a shame that games like Palworld, design controversies aside, are seen as digs at Pokemon when the two games should be able to coexist. Someone clearly doesn't like sharing the spotlight, huh? Don't think it's just Nintendo that's made some poor decisions this month, though. Oh no, trust me. PlayStation had some of that cuckoo pie too. Whilst they had some pretty good reveals in their most recent State of Play, which we'll get to later, this month was also the month where we got two significant blunders for PlayStation's credibility. It started with their blunder on Concord, a live service game that was supposed to take the shooter genre by storm. And then it was announced that the game would go completely offline on September 6th. Not only that, but it would be completely removed from the PlayStation Store.
What the heck?
Seriously, what the heck happened here? It took them so many years to develop Concord, and supposedly millions of dollars went into that development. Not to worry though, right? Because PlayStation would totally rise up from this blunder and give us something to rekindle the hope that we have in... Huh? They revealed what? The PS5 Pro. How much is it? Yeah, so not even a full week after Concord got shut down, and PlayStation unveils the PS5 Pro for the very first time. Which, whilst it has tons of benefits, such as a larger GPU, advanced ray tracing, and AI-driven upscaling, it clearly doesn't look like an improvement from anything that they've shown in their showcase. It definitely looks good, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't seem all too impressive, especially because this showcase is just showing remasters and titles that already look good on the base PS5. But let's not even get into the price, because oh my goodness!
Well, this can't possibly be correct!
$700?! You're expecting your player base to buy a $700 console with no disc drive or stand included? Will the PS5 Pro give me an in-home manicure as well? Or do I have to pay for that specialty too? Needless to say, the reaction has not been great towards this insane blunder from Sony, with people making memes of just how many things that they can buy that would be of more value than one single PS5 Pro. Okay, we're thankfully done with a lot of the bad news this month. Like I said before, it's equally as important to talk about this stuff and keep people updated on these topics to ensure they know what to steer away from. But thankfully, the rest of this month was nothing but banger after banger. Dipping our toes into the gacha game sphere, we've got an exciting update for any of our Hoyo enjoyers out there. As of the 25th, Hoyoverse just dropped their 1.2 update for Zema Zone Zero, the Tour de Inferno. Aside from featuring a brand new story chapter with the new Eridu's Outer Ring, and bringing in playable characters Caesar King and Bernice from the Sons of Caledon, we got tons of quality of life changes that make the game feel so much more smooth and easier for those that may have been sticking around since launch. New ways to acquire rare materials, being able to swap who we walk around with on the overworld, even an auto mode for exploration commissions just in case you missed any of those snazzy rewards. And with more events to come, we are very much feasting as we head into October. That's not all though, as Dragon Ball Legends just dropped their newest announcement for the finale of their movie saga campaign. Ultra Turles is joining the fray. That's right, Turles finally got a brand new unit after 4 years of radio silence from the Legends devs. Not only does this ink art and standing art look amazing, but just look at that model upgrade. The difference in quality is just night and day. As a Tree of Might enjoyer myself, it feels nice that Turles is getting the premium unit treatment to come alongside the new Turles Crusher Core tag. Don't worry though, that's not all the Dragon Ball news we've got for today. PlayStation, thankfully, recovered a little bit from the nonsensical news they dropped before, as their most recent State of Play had quite the titles to show off going into the end of the year and into 2025. We would get things such as the Horizon Zero Dawn remake, the Lake House, which is the elated Alan Wake 2 expansion, Dynasty Warriors Origins, a Soul Reaver remaster of all things, and even some new robots to find in Astrobot. We even got a release date for Monster Hunter Wilds coming out in February 28th of 2005, and a collaboration between Stellar Blade and Nier Automata. And also, the soundtrack is releasing on all streaming platforms, which you should absolutely listen to if you haven't already. It is peak. Their last reveal was actually a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, The Ghost of Yutai. Considering how beloved Ghost of Tsushima was, I can only imagine that this game, once it releases in 2025, has a lot to live up to as the sequel for a game that has such renown. Don't think I forgot our Versus games, of course. How could I? With Terry Bogard officially releasing onto Street Fighter 6 as of the 24th. As I mentioned way back when this was revealed, Terry being the first guest character in Street Fighter history makes so much sense, considering the history between Street Fighter and KOF. And despite that, it still feels so surreal seeing Terry move alongside Ryu and Ken in a game that isn't Capcom versus SNK. Initial impressions on Terry from the community seem to be very positive too, as people find out what he can do, his combo routes, and even show off some of the more silly interactions. If you thought that was all, however, then you may not have been ready for the announcement that Ken and Chun-Li are coming to Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves. Man, it really feels as though these two franchises are embracing each other again, and that makes me so happy. Funnily enough, before PlayStation would drop their State of Play, we were granted some news on Sonic-related media through the Sonic Central. Aside from their usual stuff such as merch drops like Lego sets and biker helmets, we got a Shadow costume coming to Super Monkey Ball, Bennett and Rumble, the Battle Royale game Sonic Rumble coming this winter, and even a Sonic Golf game? No specific release date was set, but hey, it's a nice reveal regardless. We are actually getting a comic series team-up between Sonic and DC, which is incredibly exciting. But I'd be remiss if I didn't speak on all of the Shadow content we received this time around. Getting a release window for all of the animated episodes for Sonic and Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings before being hit with a bombshell of a trailer for the game with the same name. Black Doom in full force, even more glimpses of the levels and Shadow's Doom powers, and wait a minute. Is that Mephiles? Mephiles is here too? And Maria and Gerald are alive through the time shenanigans going on as well? It blows my mind that what was supposed to be Sonic Generations with an additional Shadow campaign on top feels like a sequel to Shadow the Hedgehog from 2005 with Sonic Generations just attached to it. I already know that this is going to be a day one pickup once it drops on October 25th. And speaking of October, we cannot gloss over the sheer amount of game-breaking news we received for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. We will receive a brand new trailer for the base roster's characters on the 12th, where, after going through all of the arcs of Z, we go on quite the grand tour. That's right, GT got its representation in the base roster. GT Goku, Pan, Super Baby 2, Omega Shenron, and even Super Saiyan 4! A lot of people were definitely afraid that GT would make it, since they clearly wanted to have a focus on Dragon Ball Super characters before anything else. And even with that in mind, no one could have predicted the reveals that came a week after. More super characters like Kaba, Frost, and God of Destruction Topo, followed by the biggest reveal of Sparking Zero's lifespan. The movie characters made it! Z Broly, Cooler, Android 13, Bojack, Janemba, Turles, Lord Slug, Tapion, Hirudegarn, even Garlic Jr., and Dr. Wheelo! Watching the trailer, you knew that everyone on the dev team understood how important the movie characters were to the community. October legitimately could not come any sooner. Phew. What a month for gaming, huh? Sorry for getting a little excited there. You gotta understand, once we have something bad, we have to meet it with an equal amount of good. Personally, I think this month has been a testament to how insane this entire year has been for gaming. So many lows in the industry, with a lot of people getting laid off from their jobs, met with so many insane highs soon after that, with the games and the quality that we're getting this year. But that's what Recap Relay is here for, to keep you up to date on all of the news, gaming, and esports. Until then, I'm your host, Isaac Espinosa, and I'll be seeing you all on the flip side. Bye-bye now.